Hello, thanks for joining us today. This is a new series that we're doing on North Carolina Medicaid CAP C services and updates. So hopefully this is the first of many more videos to come. So today we're going to start by talking about extraordinary circumstances. And to bring you up to speed, extraordinary circumstances are what is required for a parent or legal guardian to be paid as their child's caregiver when the child is under 18. Um, and we will talk a little bit more about that in a future video. But in order to be eligible to do that, you have to meet one of 5 extraordinary circumstances. So we were going to run through those today and kind of talk about what the state has said that they're looking for in terms of documentation. So I'm Jenny Hobbs. I'm with Advocates for Medically Fragile Kids, NC. We also have today Dania, who's also on our board, and Alexandra, who is a good friend of our organization. So I'm happy to have them with us so we can have a conversation about this. So
There are not sufficient nurses, aides in the waiver participants county or adjunct counties through a home health agency, in-home aid agency due to a lack of qualified providers, and the waiver participant needs extensive to maximal assistance with bathing, dressing, toileting, and eating daily to avoid an out-of-home placement. This is extraordinary circumstance number 1, and I think we should break it down to try to parse apart all of the aspects of this that can trip everybody up. So let's talk about first the idea of not having a sufficient number of nurses or aides in the waiver participants county. What are your thoughts on that?
So first of all, I would say what is not included here is, but implied is sufficient nurses or aides. Doesn't mean that there aren't any, but that there aren't any that can work the schedule that you need for your child. So say you're needing help on Fridays and Saturdays and you're having difficulty getting those hours filled, then that would be not sufficient nurses, even if you happen to have a nurse that can work on Tuesday and Wednesday, for example. So it's looking at the entirety of the hours approved and not just whether there is any. I will say that the state has said you can't just reject every nurse or aide that's sent to you. In order to meet this criteria, you do have to legitimately trial people that might be available. That is, if you're working with an agency, if you are doing consumer direction, you need to show that there is effort on your part to find staffing. And it's my understanding that they're looking for effort. They'll check that every 90 days, but they're looking for that to be monthly. And so you need to provide documentation either from yourself that you've been searching or from the agency that you've utilized to help with your staffing. So they are going to want physical documentation for that effort, no matter who is doing it.
Sure. And I think let's chat a little bit about examples too. I think sometimes, what does that documentation look like? And I know that, examples could look like creating some type of PDF flyer that is an advertisement for, the position to be a caretaker for your child and the hours, the type of caregiver, the tasks that are going to be required during the period of time that you need to have staffed. And you know, what the efforts were to distribute that flyer through like what, whether online or through um, different networks in certain school communities. Do you have any other ideas, Jenny?
Yeah, those are all great. Maybe a spreadsheet to kind of help track if you're the one doing the searching, and then the agency could write a letter on their letterhead stating that they've been searching. Um, your case manager can document that they have sent referrals to 3 agencies every month, and everybody has replied back that they don't have staffing. So I think any of those would all be accepted.
An email with the email signature of the agency would kind of also be another form of a
Yeah.
letter on letterhead um, that could qualify. And also, creating a phone log of attempts by the parent as well to different agencies. And if uh, I'm trying to think of their yeah, I guess, any efforts by the parent and or the case manager.
Hmm.
All right. So the next part of it, I think that typically tends to generate a lot of questions is extensive to maximal assistance. And those are actually specific terms that are in um, PT, in the like actual medical terms that are a specific amount of assistance. Do you want to go into that, Jenny?
Um, there is a great chart. We can include that the in the notes of this, so that you can have access to look at the specifics. But um, extensive means that it's definitely hands-on. Um, and they're looking for it to be not just one of these ADLs, the bathing, dressing, toileting, and eating, but for all four, which I think is often not thought of. Just be, I, the good thing is it's not something necessarily the family is responsible for determining. It will be in their assessment that has been done for either their intake assessment or for their CNR. And so that's something that is measured and include and documented in the assessment. So that's where they're looking for that documentation to be, would be in the assessment.
And with this example, or with this criterion, we're looking for the most um, towards the most dependent end of the spectrum in
Yes.
in these areas. So children that require huge amounts of assistance to for these like activities of daily living to even be completed, that they
Hmm.
would not be undertaking them independently.
Right. Think of like hand over hand feeding or bathing, where the child may be able to help a little bit, but that the parent is doing most of the work. That would be extensive. And then maximal would be that they're doing all of the work. So,
Great. All right. I think that's probably covers most of the questions with this, but if folks have additional questions, they can add to them in the comments, and we can try to address them in another video.